Estoy cantando, doctorcito. Vaya, vamos, doctorcito. Vamos adelante. Doctorcito, baloncito. Doctorcito balón.
La Amazonía es la casa grande donde compartimos las personas con los animales, con las plantas y con toda forma de vida. Es un hogar, es una ciudad donde los que vivimos en la Amazonía entramos al bosque para sacar nuestra medicina, entramos al bosque para prestarnos alimentos y entramos al bosque para convivir con él. La Amazonía es vida.
It is almost cliche to say that the Amazon rainforest is one of the lungs of the planet and provides oxygen for the entire world. It's the most biodiverse area, most biodiverse forest in the world. It sustains all forms of life, insects, birds, animals, human populations.
For me, the Amazon rainforest is something really special. No? It's the biggest tropical forest on Earth with a lot of biodiversity. I'm from the Netherlands originally, and I can see more species of birds in one day than I can see in the Netherlands the whole year.
It has so many resources that allow for our daily lives, both here locally and internationally. It's an incredibly important location on so many different levels for basically every plant, animal, and human being that occupies this planet.
The Amazon is also very important, no, for the climate, especially the local climate, the Bolivian climate, for instance, up to the rains in the Andes, in the southern Chaco region. They all depend on the Amazon for the production of the rain. The Amazon provides oxygen for the whole world. So it's really important as well. But I think it's also important to understand that there are people living within the Amazon. And for them, the Amazon is even much more important because it provides their food, their shelter, their everything, no?
La Amazonía es como el pulmón de la vida, ¿no? Es como lo que nos va a salvar a la humanidad. O sea, ahí está como toda la biodiversidad, no solo en plantas, también en animales. Lo que sostiene como que el ecosistema a nivel mundial, ¿no? Es como la esperanza del nuevo mundo, ¿no? Preservar la Amazonía.
La Amazonía está amenazada. Atentar contra la Amazonía es atentar contra la economía, contra la ecología y contra la vida y la cultura de aquellos que habitan estos bosques tropicales. Las amenazas, ¿cómo debemos afrontarlas? En primer lugar, con una posición de conciencia del valor que tiene nuestro bosque amazónico y en segundo lugar, ser proactivo en cuanto a la conservación, a la protección. Y en esta última tarea debe estar el gobierno, debe estar las comunidades nativas, debe estar las organizaciones, pero también necesitamos, requerimos el acompañamiento de la cooperación internacional necesitamos el aporte de los ciudadanos del primer mundo para conservar este espacio verde que también va a beneficiar a todo el planeta.
The research station here, now that we're in the process of building, that it's here on my backdrop. The idea basically is alongside local communities, alongside a nonprofit, with the support of international donors such as Pacha, we've been able to protect 50,000 acres, which is 20,000 hectares here of jungle. But it's really just the beginning. We see this as really just a starting point for what opportunity exists. And really, the research station is the physical infrastructure that's going to allow that to take place. In order to be able to affect policy, we need research. So the first thing and the first process that we're trying to do now is really to understand this research. This is going to be a space for biologists, for researchers, for academics, as well as people that want to influence policy.
Each visit I discover new species which I haven't seen here before. We've registered more than 380 different bird species, for instance, 40 different amphibians, reptiles as well. So really big numbers, and they're still growing.
Sustainable Bolivia is a nonprofit that was founded 14 years ago. We've only been operating in the Amazon for about a little over 5 years now. In that time, we were able to establish the reserve. And basically, we've always been searching out different international partners. We were fortunate enough to come into contact with Pacha, who has been able to raise some funds. Through that, we've built the research station. In addition to the research station, we've also been able to get many trees both donated and purchased, and together alongside volunteers that have come down to join us in this endeavor, we've been planting these trees in an attempt to reforest some disturbed areas. This partnership is just one of many that we hope to establish because it's completely necessary. I think one of the advantages of having a partner like Pacha and having people directly from that organization involved in what we're doing is we can show the benefit. One of the real key aspects of Sustainable Bolivia in partnership with Pacha is that donors can see directly the impact they're making. So you're not doing that donation in good faith. You have the opportunity to look over here and see without a lot of resources, we can accomplish a lot, and you can see that directly. We can respond to those donors, and so you can feel involved in this process, and you can understand the importance of your donation in protecting this land and protecting this space for future generations.
But it has to start somewhere, and research is where things start. And I think also on biodiversity, if you don't know what you're destroying, nobody will care. But if you really understand what biodiversity there is, how things work ecologically, how much carbon is sequestered over here, things like that, you can really help understand why it should be protected and how we could look for the sustainable development options as well. No? So as a researcher myself, I really think research is the main point. For strategical planning, you need information, and for information, you need research.
If we're able to really gather as much information as we can, really understand why this location is truly valuable, then we're going to be able to present that. And through that process, we can affect policy. So we can present this to both the local government, to the national government, to the Bolivian government. And through that and through the contacts that we've been able to establish, we feel very confident in our ability to extend the scope and the size of the protections of this reserve. In addition to the work we do at the nonprofit, one of the things that we've set up is a plant medicine center, a plant medicine retreat, where we work with local plant medicines in an attempt to heal people on a physical level and heal people on a psychological level. I've been fortunate personally to come in contact with the medicine ayahuasca, and this medicine, ayahuasca specifically, is another thing that's being threatened. Because of the encroachment of international pressures, you're seeing these practices being lost. And it's really a tragedy because this medicine has the opportunity not only to affect the local populations, but people from all over the world. You have to come to this area to understand it, to understand the traditions, and to understand why it's so important to protect this medicine, because of the opportunity it has to heal people.
Bueno, la ayahuasca está dentro del reino vegetal de las plantas, como considerada la planta maestra, ¿no? De todas las plantas, la que se comunica con las demás energías igual. Pues para mí significa como la medicina del corazón, ¿no? La medicina máster y la madre, como la llamamos nosotros, madre ayahuasca.
This is a way for the earth to communicate to humans, because let's face it, the earth is suffering, and right now it needs to speak to us. It needs to change our consciousness. It needs to raise awareness, and I think this medicine is really one step in that process.
Y sí, pienso que también es muy importante el uso de esta medicina en estos momentos para poder como que librarse de tantas ataduras que tenemos, no solo mentales, también como que emocionales, energéticas, y sobre todo abrir como que el entendimiento para poder estar bien, primero con uno, ¿no? O sea, cuando estamos bien con uno, pues todo a nuestro alrededor va a estar.
You know, the future of the reserve, the future of the Amazon, you know, I am an optimist in general, and I have a lot of optimism about the potential that this reserve has. It's being threatened. We occupy a really unique space, I feel like, where you look all around us and it looks like this pristine jungle, and for the most part it is. You know, there's been encroachment, there's been trees, it's not entirely primary growth rainforest, but this is a really special place that has been relatively untouched, you know, but not far behind us right here, you know, you have roads, you have people, you have logging, you have all sorts of things, and so you can really feel this pressure as it's almost like a microcosm of the Amazon in general. You know?
Climate scenarios that show like we can really soon hit a tipping point where most of the Amazon converts into savanna lands, and even in Pará you have areas that are converting into desert already. No, it's something that's already happening. When you look what's happening in Bolivia, in the Chiquitano, in the Chaco, areas of more than 1 million hectares burned down from one year to the other. Because when you look from the governmental point of view, there seems to be really little interest to invest in protecting the Amazon. No? Internationally, locally, nationally, it's not in the agenda. No? When you look at the amount of money that there is to destruct the Amazon, it's at least 100 times bigger than the amount of money there is to conserve the Amazon.
You know, it's not an easy thing to change the course that we're on. It's going to require changes in our lifestyle, both locally and internationally. And, you know, people are resistant to change. And so that's where, you know, people start getting a little bit negative, thinking, you know, we're on this path and there's nothing we can do to stop it. But you know what? That's not the case. There's still time. You know, global warming is a reality. But you know what? There's still an opportunity for us to change course. I believe in humanity, I believe in the space, and I think over time, with the right education, with the right knowledge, hence Research Center, we're going to be able to make those changes. We're going to have to, and I think it's going to happen. If not out of necessity, because there are enough people out here, people like the people that come down here and see the space that want to help us, there's enough of those people out there that we're going to work together and we're going to make that change.
La Amazonía en este momento y desde hace varios años está siendo atacada sistemáticamente. Y es por eso que lanzamos un llamado de atención al mundo, para que nos demos cuenta el peligro en que está la Amazonía. La Amazonía tiene que ser conservada y defendida ante las acciones que son depredadoras, las acciones que consumen el valor biológico del bosque. Yo pienso de que si hay un esfuerzo común entre todos para proteger la Amazonía, para trabajar por ella, vamos a lograr conservar lo más que se pueda. Lamentablemente hay cosas que son irreversibles, pero lo importante que es para conservar la Amazonía es unir esfuerzos entre todos. Los que vivimos en el bosque y aquellos que están, aunque muy lejos, pero también preocupados por que se conserve este pedazo del planeta que da oxígeno, que da vida y que significa la última frontera de la naturaleza virgen.